everyone, welcome back to G&J Exploring. In today's video we complete our trip to the island of Madeira and visit the locations shown in yellow on the map here. We start by heading to the top of Bica da Cana mountain and watch the sunrise out over Madeira. With the sun risen, we head back down the road and start the PR6 Levada walk by heading through a very long and dark tunnel before getting back into the open and heading along the Levada to a very impressive waterfall with 25 different sources apparently. We then head back to the car and drive to the Fanal Forest where there's some very interesting trees to see before heading back to Faial and having a relaxing time in the hotel. The following day we head to the east of the island and start by doing the very sunny PR8 walk across the peninsula which forms the most eastern part of the island. We then head northeast and go to a very nice restaurant in the town of São Jorge before heading back down the coast and visiting the traditional houses in Santana, and then further down the coast we visit the fort at Faial and a very nice viewpoint along the coast. We then head back to Funchal for some more relaxing, some more dinner spots and a visit to the Ronaldo Museum before leaving Madeira and heading back home. This trip to Madeira was really good fun and we do heartily recommend you visit. But that's enough for now and on with the show. We are once again up fairly bright and early and we are at the top of the island again at a place called Bica da Cana, which is another good place to see the sunrise. Now it is very cloudy, as you can probably tell, but the cloud is lifting a touch. It's not as bad as it has been, and the sunset, or sunrise I should say, is just round here on the right. So we've walked very quickly along the path and we're nearly at the viewing point to see what we can see. The path is pretty obvious. You just follow everyone else's footsteps along a sort of dirt track. Excuse me, I'm a bit out of breath. Ignore a chain across the gate because that's just to keep cars out. As a person you can get in easily enough. And it's quite impressive. With the view in the distance, there is a view, slightly surprisingly. And you've got the clouds going overhead. So the sun has risen and the clouds have broken briefly. You can actually see the sky right now. And we got a really nice view out towards the sun and the clouds in the distance. Hopefully it will break up a bit more in the distance in a moment. There we go. And well, we didn't see too much of a sunrise. With all the clouds swirling around, it was still very pretty to see. And you can see a bit on the GoPro, but the sun hitting the clouds from the distance does look very impressive. But just as quickly as the clouds break, they do reform and you can't see anything anymore. So we're on our way down from a viewpoint. This place is a little bit less touristy than the place we went to at the beginning of the trip, Aéreo I think it was. but it's still good. You don't get quite as good a sunrise just because of how it is. You're looking at the mountain you are on for Aéreo. You're not looking at the sea in the distance, but it's still very very well worth doing. A bit less people, which makes it a bit more pleasant. But the cloud is rolling in again, as you can see, sweeping across the ground. But actually, with the clouds coming in and out, it's actually pretty impressive. So we're now going to head down the road a little bit to a walk, and we'll then be walking through some tunnels along some levadas and finding some waterfalls. We have now just reached the car park of our walk, and it's pretty empty, which is good. Now we are going to be walking to 25 fonts today, which is about 5 kilometers away, and you've got two options. You can either park at the top of a mountain and walk down to it, or you can do what we've done and park over here, walk to a tunnel which takes water through the mountain, and you can walk through the tunnel. And that means that instead of going up and down, you just go on the level. So we're going to go down this path and see what we find. So we're walking down the path to the tunnel, and we've got these nice waterfalls coming off the hills. Now it has rained a lot overnight, or at least a lot more than it has the rest of our time here. So I guess that's helping the waterfalls have some water in them, but it's all very pretty. I'm not quite sure where the tunnel is, but I expect it's just down here. And I think curious to see how wet it is and how dark it gets. So here we are at the entrance to the tunnel. You can also walk up the massive hill and back down the other side along PR 6.7, but we are not going to be doing that. We're going to head a relatively short distance through the tunnel, and I think we're going to be glad we brought our head torches with us, because this looks a bit dark and scary, but very, very impressive. It's also really cold. It just hits you with this wave of cold. So we're in a big cavern right now, but it definitely gets smaller. Something tells me I'm going to be doing some ducking on this walk. We've got the tunnel in front of us, spinning round. We've got Juliet silhouetted in the opening. We are now in the tunnel. I don't know if you can see anything. Juliet's got the head torch on in front, and it is a very impressive tunnel, very nice, reasonably high. You don't get to have to duck, and I'm 6'2", but it is very long, and it is a bit wet underfoot, and it is very scary. So if you're coming down here, you want to make sure you've got some sort of light with you. Otherwise, you're probably in for a bit of a scary time. Anyway, this is an 800 metre long tunnel. We've probably done about 200 metres. So we're getting there. Soon enough, we should be out the other side. So we're out the other side of the tunnel, and it was a very impressive tunnel. We'll be heading back through it on the way back, but we're now heading through this cloud forest, I suppose, similar to the one we saw in Tenerife. And we've got the Levada on the side. And we're now going to be heading to the small village building of Radical, and we're going to be seeing where we go along the path after that. We are further along the path. We're about 3 kilometers in, and the Levada has now gone above the ground level. It's now alongside us, and it looks very pretty. It's still raining, still cloudy, but it adds to the ambience. I've said to Juliet many times so far on this walk, but it does feel a lot like Jurassic Park. And even though it's raining, it's still very warm and still very pleasant to walk along. Here we are at 25 fonts, and very impressive it is. So Juliet tells me that fonts does not mean fountains or waterfalls, it means springs, but there's certainly a lot of little waterfalls here as well. And looking up, you can see all the way to the top, and it does look very, very impressive. A man here's just unblocked the drain on one of the levadas, and it's all flowing down there, creating a very nice waterfall if you ignore the slightly murky colour of the water. We are back where the tunnel is, and we've come to the Radical Café, which is a nice cafe up here on the hilltop. It's got a little bit of a museum, and it's got a nice open area we're going to get to here with a man who's fighting a losing battle against the leaves with his leaf blower. Quite funny actually. But we're going to be back at the tunnel very soon, and then we'll be back in the car. The rain is picking up, so we're looking forward to being in the tunnel. We have left the tunnel and have just gone to find a waterfall just to the side of the exit. And if I head back up here, we'll see another bit of the Levada. This area is crisscrossed by Levadas, unsurprisingly. And there we go, there is another Levada snaking its way around the hill. And if we look over to the side, we've got a very nice view out down to the sea. So the clouds have gone from down here, which is nice, but up high there are still quite a few. We're now going to be heading back over the mountains to a forest and seeing what we find there.
We are now at the Fanal Forest. This is an infamous tree that looks like a witch, the witch's tree. So not maybe quite what we were expecting, but it's a forest of sorts, small forest, lots of sort of oddly shaped looking trees. It's a UNESCO heritage site that Madeira is really happy with. So we're going to walk up a hill. There's a lot of people on the hill, so it probably means there's a viewpoint. And we'll get back to you and hopefully some good views.
After a fairly energetic walk, I'm now up at the top of one of the hills here in Fanal, and there's this good view down towards the northern coast. And spinning around, you can see some of the mountains in the interior of the island. It's the wind farm where we were early this morning up there. And down there is the forest itself. As Juliet said, there's not much to the forest. It's mainly farmland actually, but still very nice to see. We're now going to be heading back down the island to the hotel and spending a well-deserved afternoon in the pool. We've just had a very nice dinner at the Grutta restaurant in front of me here, just into Funchal. The restaurant's set into a cave, very nice. We sat outside though, nice to see things going by. And Juliet and I both had picados, which are basically stews with a load of potatoes, and they're very nice. I've eaten a monstrous amount of goat, and Juliet had quite a lot of beef, and it all comes with a lot of potatoes, so we're both absolutely stuffed, but it was very nice. We're now going to be walking home, and tomorrow we'll be out again in the car. We are now at PR6 Walk at the eastern end of the island, and this is a little bit more down towards sea level, a bit more along the coast, and a bit busier. We have started a bit later today than we would normally start, so it is quite a few people on the trail, but it looks quite nice, and we're going to start off right now. We're heading along the path here, and it's very warm but very pleasant at the same time. Makes a change from the rain yesterday, and we've got these wonderful views of the sea all around and some rock formations in front of us, and it's a very pleasant walk. Even though it's very busy, the path is very open, so you don't get too bogged down with other people, and as long as you stay clear of tall groups, it's quite pleasant. We are now ever so slightly off the beaten track and taking a more unpopular route to a cafe we've just seen down in the valley there. And this PR8 walk is very nice. It was quite busy at the beginning, but the amount of people has dropped off pretty significantly since getting past the first viewpoint. I expect quite a few people just go for the viewpoint at the beginning and then leave. So we've had a fairly nice walk. It is very windy, which makes it a bit more challenging, but overall, I'd say it's well worth doing. And we're both, Juliet and I, looking forward to getting to the cafe and having a nice cold drink very soon. I am now on a solo adventure. Left Juliet at the cafe down there, And now I'm going to walk up the hill in front of me, which is sort of the end of the walk. And it looks like a nice big hill to go walk up. Probably be a bit out of breath by the time I get to the top. But while it looks quite tall, I think it's only actually about 80 metres or something. So it's not actually that bad. So we'll get back to this when we are at the top. After another hour, we are now back at the car park, back at the starting point of the walk. You sort of see people snaking across the hilltops in front of us, and a very good walk it was. Well worth coming to do, but we're a bit tired now, a bit sun-kissed, and we need to go find some lunch. We are further round the coast and now more on the northern side of the island, and we're near the town of Santana at a restaurant slash hotel. And we've got this wonderful view out across the sea and the cliffs. You can see the peninsula we were on earlier in the distance, and it's a very nice view.
So we've come to a viewpoint cafe. We've both gone for meat on sticks. Very hot here. That's a fish currently on there, I'm aware. But George and I have gone for the mixed meat dish for two. The guy will shortly be cooking on here. And if I just take you out, just quickly show you the view. God, very hot in there. Very charcoaly, but these things are set up. There's a few you've seen now. And then yeah, you get to sit with a view out here. George is in there somewhere.
After our very nice lunch, we're just a bit more along the coast at the town of Santana. And we're mainly here to look at these traditional A-frame houses from the past. And they look like very nice little thatched cottages. Very pleasant. There's various shops inside of them that you can spend your money on. And we've got this great view down towards the sea. Now if I spin round, you see some more of the houses in the area. You might also notice the monstrous cloud over in the distance, and the rain has started to come down, so we might be making a fairly quick exit and heading further along the coast. We are ever so slightly further along the coast as always, and we're in Fortin de Faial, which is a fortress here in the town of Faial. Probably pronouncing that very wrong. It's another very nice little town. Great views all around, as everywhere does. And if we head down here, we should be able to get a great view and have some cannons in it as well. And there we go. Very impressive. Great views. And it's nice to see some cannons. We are now at the Guindaste viewpoint. It's a very nice viewpoint just down from the fort, but it has these sky bridges you can see, so you get to go out over the water just a little bit. You see Juliet getting in people's photographs. And coming around here, you got a car park and you have a view out the other side.
Ich muss doch irgendwie einen 10 € Gutschein ausstellen. Das ist ja alles.
And there we have another very nice view. This is going to be the last stop on our trip around the northeastern side of the island, and we're now going to be driving back to Funchal and giving the car away. And once we have done that, I think it's going to be another afternoon spent sitting in and around the pool.
We are now next morning. We've come to the Portugal Ronaldo Museum. More my choice than George's, I must admit. George is wearing my Real Madrid hat though, so everyone thinks he's a megastar, when clearly he is not. So this museum, Ronaldo set up and funded. It's got some of his memorabilia. It's basically just to sort of keep some money in Funchal. And we'll get back to you when there's anything interesting to see.
Juliet and I are now at Casa de Pena. So for our last night here in Madeira, we've come to this terrace bar, and this bar is in the Michelin guide. It doesn't have a star, but it is in the guide. And we have got fish stew, which is one of the things they're known for, and it's a very tasty fish stew, which we're about to tuck into. We've also got a fairly nice view of Funchal all around. It is our last day in Madeira, unfortunately, and we have gone to the airport after spending a couple of hours this morning around the pool. We've had a really good time the last 10 days here in Madeira. It's a great mix of relaxing by the pool and going up into the hills and doing some exploring. And we have the final site of the trip in front of us, which is the airport in front of us and all the planes doing what they do. And this is actually considered one of the things to do in Madeira because it's rare to get so up close with planes which are landing and taking off. In about half an hour, our BA flight is going to arrive and we'll be off home back to cold England. But we've had a wonderful trip. Heartily recommend coming to Madeira, and we will see you next time for some more exploring.